What's going on, everyone? Seth Miranda here for Adorama TV, coming to you from the Stream Lab above Adorama itself at 42 West 18th Street. So if you're in New York, come stop by the store. The crew will be happy to see you. But for now, we have a lot to talk about because a lot has come out from Canon and it's all video related. So check below for the chapters. You're going to want to take a look at what you're trying to find information on. Just skip around if you need to. And I mean, there's a lot, from stuff like firmware to affect things you may already own to things that aren't even camera related, like monitors and expansion packs. But this is what I'm going to talk about to start off because it's right in front of me. We got camcorders, 5 of them released from Canon. These are all updates, and we'll talk about the ones in the middle that are kind of missing from the lineup here, but everything here makes complete sense when we break it down. So let's start off with the HFG70. We have the XA65 and the XA75. In between, they got the XA60 and XA70. But let's start off over here at the VIXIA over here. So the updates on this is pretty much you get the bigger, brighter LCD. You have a 20 times zoom optically, 800 times zoom digitally, and it's a 1/2.3 inch sensor. So you've got a nice compact little unit here. And if you wanted to upgrade to something that has some more audio interface, you've got the XA65, which has the handle built in. You've got your XLR inputs and your audio interface. Basically, that's what you're getting when you're going from the HFG70 over to the XA65. Now, the in between, that XA60, it's basically this, but the HDMI version of it. You've got the SDI version here. So figure out what you're trying to do as far as the infrastructure of your whole system, if you're doing SDI, HDMI, and that's kind of where you're going to steer things. And then over here with the XA75, this is a 1-inch sensor. So you got a bigger sensor, you got a bigger camera overall, you've got the bigger, brighter screen. That's the the updates that are happening with this line of camcorders. And you've got 15 times optical zoom on this guy. So on a 1-inch sensor, that's looking pretty good. And of course, you have the handle that already has the audio interface that you need that you were seeing on the XA65. Well, you got it here too with the XLR inputs. This again is the SDI version of it at the XA75. The XA70 will be the HDMI version of that. Also with the XA75 and 70, the HDMI version of this guy, you get C-Log 3, which is great to record if you need all that flexibility in the file, which is nice, right? But overall, as a whole, the camcorders that you're seeing here and the 2 that aren't here, they are all updated to include USB-C power and video signal. This is something we're seeing a lot out there as the progression of the industry goes forward. It's nice to see it here, which means with just one cable, you get power and a 1080p signal output from the camera, which is great for things like live streaming or trying to set up a video call or something like that. You can actually set up really easily with just one cable instead of separating your power and your video. However, there is no audio, so you have to figure out your audio on another situation on the side, but it is really nice to see that overall. And the other thing you're gonna get is the ability to record the date and time on the image. This is super important for things that are legal, right? You're a lawyer that's going to be interviewing somebody, something that needs to have documentation. No more holding up the newspaper like a hostage situation to show that it's the right date and time. No, it's right there on the image for you, so you're not going to worry about that. Now, if you guys have any more questions about the specs on this, you can hit a comment down below, but I would strongly recommend you to check out the links in the description for the actual charts, and everything you might need are right there in the links for all the camcorders we're talking about right now and anything else in this video for that matter. Let's jump over to that monitor that I mentioned before. This is the Canon DP-V2730. Blah, I know, it just rolls off the tongue, right? But this is actually pretty cool. We're looking at a 27-inch 4K HDR 1000 nit display, nice and bright, but it's also accurate because you got that BT.2020 color gamut that's accurately being represented in this monitor. And you've also got Dolby certification, so you know it's legit. But there's some other things going on here. They improved the viewing angle, and what that basically means is whether you're on axis with it or a little bit off, it'll stay true to color and the exposure. So if you have like multiple people looking at that monitor at once, which you're going to, it's a set, we all gang up on those monitors. Well, if they're on either side of you, they'll be seeing the same image you're seeing straight on, which is really, really nice. And you've got all these nice inputs as well. We got quad display support, but you've also got 4 SDI inputs and an HDMI input. So for any more specs that you guys want to know about this one, please check out the link down below for all the charts. It'll have all the information you need, and let's keep going. So for you C300 Mark III and C500 Mark II owners, or maybe if you rent those a lot, this one's for you. This is in a new expansion pack, the EUV3. The major thing with this is the return video. So let's say you're doing a broadcast scenario and you have a picture-in-a-picture need to frame up properly. your switcher can send you a video signal that you can actually have an input in the camera to see and frame up properly. So that's really, really key for things like broadcast, news, sports, or a lot of school functions, stuff like that. And of course, SDI has long range capability, so you're able to get about 100 feet away from that switcher and get that return video. So again, broadcast scenarios are really good for this. On top of that, you have a new addition to the power system here. So instead of you needing a battery in there and running power, you no longer need a battery to run power through that XLR. You can do it without the battery, which is nice. So if you're short-handed or running out of batteries and like that, you don't have to worry about it too much, or even buying extra batteries for this camera. You don't have to worry about it if you have the expansion pack. And just to throw some other stuff on there, you get a tally inside the viewfinder and LCD, which is nice. You know, you get that red frame around the frame itself, which lets you really know if you're recording instead of just like some little tiny dot. Just nice little quality of life features that up in there with the EUV3. So again, a lot of other features are in this, but check out the link below if you're at all interested in this, and you can really comb through some of the specs. Canon also has a new Cine-Servo zoom lens for you. Yeah, so it's an EF or PL mount. It's not flex zoom, but it doesn't matter when you got a lens that's this versatile, at 15 millimeter to 120 millimeters. So a little wider and a little longer than you would see in a lens this class, but it also has a 1.5 extender on it that'll get you 22.5 to 180 millimeters. Now the T-stop does change. When you're in the 15 to 120 millimeter, you're looking at a T295. Now once you get past 90 millimeters, you're looking at T3.5. When you flip on that extender at 22.5, you're looking at T4.4, and then I'll get into 5.9 in that T-stop. So check out the full specs down below. This is an 8K ready lens. We're talking about this era, right? We need to resolve on those sensors. Well, it's Canon glass. You're talking about the great color, really sharp, and focuses really well with the dual pixel autofocus technology that they have out there. So if you need to know anything else, please check out the specs in the link down below, just like everything else we're talking about in this video. Let's jump over to the PTZ camera with the CRN700. This is the update to the CRN500. You got all that plus this new stuff like 4K 60, 42 10-bit. Yeah, but to get that 4K out of there, you need that 12G SDI out, but they also give you a 3G SDI output for monitoring, which is really good to have when you have to check out the new multiple angles of view crop function, which is really good to have when you have 4K image that you're punching into in various places. You can monitor those zones on the frame, which is great. And as far as the frame look goes, you've got loadable LUTs here. It means you can match different sources. You can work in the space that you want to work in with loadable LUTs. You're no longer stuck with just what's in there. You have optical zoom of 15 times in 4K, and you have 30 times zoom in full HD. Makes sense there. And you have eye autofocus and head detection. I mean, it's Canon. Eye autofocus and head detection is what they do, right? Well, with a PTZ camera, it's even better when it can follow you around and detect people's faces, eyes, and stay with them as they move around. And to prove this thing is totally professional, you have licenses for SRT, 3D support, and NDI-HX built in. So anything else you need to know about this, don't forget to check out the link down below, like the rest of the stuff we're talking about in this video, and all the full specs there. If you have any questions, hit me with a comment. I'll be sure to answer as much as I can, but really it's all there in the link. All right, so that handles all the hardware from Canon, but what about the firmware updates we were talking about, which I'm super excited about. It basically gives you more than what's already in your hands, right, for free. And you're talking about the C300 Mark III, the C500 Mark II, and the EOS C70, which is super popular out there. Our own Fernando Martinez, who's filming right now, loves using the C70. And you're getting support for enhanced XC protocol, flex zoom support, so the new lenses, like the one we just talked about, getting supported, obviously. Face detection autofocus during slow and fast modes, and the C70 alone is actually getting eye detection as well for the autofocus, which is great to have. You're getting 4-channel audio display, which is awesome. You were getting 2-channel before, now you got 4-channel. And you are looking at 4K inch support up to 600 megabytes per second, 4K 5994p for the C70, which is awesome, right? So check out the link down below for the full list of what's being rolled out with these firmware updates, and stay up to date with your firmware in general. Canon is always adding things to their gear, and firmware is one of the best ways to do that. So check out the links down below for the full specs and everything that is eligible for firmware update, and stay up to date on it yourself. All right, I think that's everything. I don't know. There's probably even more. You can check out more blogs out there for that kind of stuff, but we just covered 5 camcorders, a monitor, an expansion pack, a new Cine-Servo lens. We've got the PTZ camera and firmware updates. This is just nuts. I mean, we've been waiting for more and more things to come out, and it looks like we're finally getting the world moving again. So again, I said a million times in this video, check out all the links down below for any more information on any of the stuff we talked about. You can hit like, share, spread around, hit subscribe, plus the bell so you get notified when we put up more videos like this. If you guys have any questions, I'll do my best to answer with a comment down below. But for real, check out the links. Thank you guys for watching. My name is Seth Miranda. We'll see you next time. Come to my beautiful bounty. No Easter egg.